This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about theme park magic without the pixie dust. I am Nathan Hartman. And let me tell you, earlier I was writing the agenda for this episode, and I sort of just read over our classic phrasing, but I said, welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about theme park magic. And that wasn't right, but it also kind of is, you know what I mean? It's just sort of... that's what we're here for. But with me tonight on this rat-chastical episode is Victoria. Hello, Victoria.
Hello. I just have to tell you that actually reminded me. I read a tweet earlier that said Jumbo and Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch were at a Disneyland pass party, and I thought it said "back that ass up" party.
Back that ass up party.
And I was like, okay.
I saw that tweet and I was like, you know
Jumbo,
what? I can see how that could happen.
Jumbo could get it. Let me
Jumbo
tell you.
can get it. Like,
Jumbo
I was
could
like,
get
good
it.
for you, Jumbo. Good for you.
Yeah, back that ass up.
Trust me, the
Dragon
furries
Ball
have already
It is. I got it
pornified
from
that
Five Below.
shark. Trust me. Like, it's
There's
already
a-
happened. Like, don't Google it. Don't Google
Oh,
it. It's
God.
out. It's there.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that
telling
makes
you.
sense. Yeah, rule 34, right? Yeah.
42, 34? I forget.
68?
Yeah.
69?
60,
I wanna
rule
find it
69 in the internet.
Hey,
gonna look
nice.
it up.
Hey.
The other people, don't look it up. Don't do it. The other people with us this evening. This is what happens when you have like Goku juice or whatever you're
Whatever
you're
Victoria's
on.
Sir,
drinking.
this is Piccolo. Thank you very
whatever.
much.
I don't know.
Dragon Ball Z juice.
Hey, can I? This is not a racist thing at all. That sounds.
Meaning it is. If you have to phrase it that way.
No, it's not. I just have met so many black people that love Dragon Ball Z, and I don't know a lot of white people that like Dragon Ball Z. It's like I have an exclusively blurred knowledge of Dragon Ball Z. It's been very weird.
Because
sure
it's
there's
so true, because I literally love Vegeta so much, and I don't know why.
I'm sure there's an entire collegiate thesis on otaku fans of color. Because there's it's a huge subset, of course. But I would really love to figure out how and why, what about it is particular, or if there is anything particular to a black audience, or if it's just, hey, they're weebs like everybody else.
Now that you mention it, I see the vision, because I see it with Deku, I see it with Piccolo, I see it with Vegeta. Yeah, and Knuckles.
I'm happy to have helped you understand your culture.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also with me tonight is Janine. Hello, Janine.
Hello.
Who is? We were discussing this earlier. You've been very busy making a baby. Your back is hurting. Everything is hurting. We're a couple months away.
Yes.
What are you craving?
Yeah. What's the crave?
I just had some mango with tahini.
Okay.
And then I'm enjoying this wonder
Oreo
Oreo
that
Zero
gods have
Cola.
bestowed upon me of the Oreo Coke
Oreo Coca-Cola with tahini is the way you're enjoying
Okay,
it.
I'll give it a try.
I've had both. I did not like the Oreo Coca-Cola. It didn't taste like Oreo enough for me. I wanted full on Sugar Rush. I didn't get nothing. It's too subtle.
It's a little soft.
Yeah, but the Coke flavored Oreo was pretty nice.
I heard the
enjoyed it.
opposite from my brother. I haven't tried the Oreo yet, but my brother did, and he said it was gross.
No, it's not gross. It is subtle, I suppose, but you get a little popping candy in it. It's good. And
okay.
I shouldn't forget before we get off on all our tangents is, of course, Dave Cobb. Hello, Dave Cobb.
Hi.
You have been a man on. We won't tell all the secret missions you've been on, but you have literally been crossing country. I don't know, like every other week. It's been quite the.
I've
quite
been
the
working
thing.
on an attraction thing that I've been working on that's super tippy-tuck secret. You can't talk about it on the other coast, and I've been away. So thanks for having me
Yes.
back.
I will go ahead and just stop the comments here. It is not Epic Universe. Calm down.
It's not. It's not. Calm down. It's not epic. Calm down.
I do want to know though. Cross country. What's our trip length?
About 5 hours.
5 hours. Do you try to work at 5 hours, or do you just go ahead and watch a movie?
No, it's not enough. And plus, the coach seats, you can't really. Not this laptop. I have a big old, the large MacBook Pro. I'd have to use my iPad, which I don't really like doing a lot of work on. I'll sometimes pull out and make notes and just a little bit. Most of the time, I just download shows onto my phone. I don't even bother doing it on a big screen on my iPad. I just do my phone. And if it's I've had to do a red eye a couple of times, and I can sleep on planes, so I just knock myself
Very
out.
nice. Very nice. You are going to kill. Thinking of that, I don't think I've ever slept on a plane. No.
What?
Nope. Didn't sleep
you
the whole
didn't-
time for Tokyo or London.
You didn't
No.
sleep for Tokyo?
No, that was intentional though, because I knew that we would be able to get to our hotel at like 10 p.m. and I wanted to knock out until like noon the next day, which is what we
Honestly, I
did.
kind of get it though, because I don't sleep on my flights to Florida because it's only 2 hours. I can watch 2 episodes of Downton Abbey and then I'll be there.
2 hours is Down Abbey. That's the watch.
It's always Downton Abbey or it's Beyonce's Coachella.
That's it.
Nice.
I swear.
I find that I like watching. I don't know why we're talking about this, but I find I like watching foreign movies on planes but this was actually before I had a nice pair of noise canceling headphones. But because when you're watching a movie and you don't have good noise canceling headphones, and I don't like subtitles for English because I know the language and it drives me nuts, and I just read. But when I have to read anyway, a good samurai flick is exactly what I'm asking for. So that's
you
my
really
game.
like Blue Eye Samurai.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's an anime. I don't know if you're into anime, but it's a really good show.
It's a good
I'll
one.
check it out. I need to check out Samurai Scroll, I think is a thing. I don't know. There's a couple. I'm very much into old samurai films right now. That's been my thing. So anyway, let's get to the news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the news, where we get to talk a little shit about Bob Chapek again. It's always a nice day. We get to talk a little shit about old Bobby Che.
I'm not on that train.
Get on. Ooh. So the thing about Chapek is, of course, we know about his exit and all that, but the New York Times had this big expose or whatever about, I think people are finally like calming down enough to talk. And the two things that stick out to me about this is stuff we've already kind of known. It's like Iger wasn't really giving him control and really not letting him do anything. But I want to highlight a couple things in this New York Times article. The one that says that the chief financial officer decided to furlough. Him and the chief financial officer decided to furlough 90,000 employees, but Iger was like, just wait until the CARES Act comes in. This was during COVID. And so he was like, oh, okay. And then Chapek's wife referred to him as Iger's lapdog. Like, what's your relationship?
Based on that,
Like,
based on that Wall Street Journal article, I can kind of see why she did call him that.
yeah. I mean, at that point, it's just like, I not that I believe in wearing someone wears the pants in the family, but my man seems to be having issues of authority both in home and at work. Let's put it like this. Yeah, but also, and this is the other great part here. Of course, Chapek could sue, right? Because of his outing, and getting kicked out. And he is told through sources, the New York Times. I think it was through sources. Let me make sure it wasn't actually him.
Just say allegedly.
allegedly, whatever. Somebody said it, but it came from him that he was not going to sue Disney because his family is a Disney family, and he didn't want to like upset them. And I'm like, your kids are adults. I think if I know, like, what? Just say that you'd get your ass handed to you, like, because that's what would happen. Like,
well, I have several
aren't there
questions.
things like aren't there clauses about that like you can't sue after
probably
when you're let go of a position from like that? Like that's.
But also, like, millionaire cries in his money. Like, shut up,
go
dude.
cry.
And
money.
like, what's stopping his family from going? I mean, he certainly don't gotta go, but I'm sure they could go. Like,
Well, I just think it's funny to be like, well, I could sue the Walt Disney Company and go to Disney World the next day. It wouldn't bother me. Like, there's not a connection there. It's a massive. It's like suing Amazon and getting something in the mail that.
Yeah, because wasn't there a point where like Ron DeSantis literally went to Disney and he was in the midst of like suing them?
Yeah, I believe so.
So I'm like,
or I do know. There was another guy who did that as well, but I cannot remember who.
Yeah, like, it might be confusing it, but like,
oh no, it was one of the guys that was talking shit and was like on DeSantis's side.
okay,
and he was
I thought
like
it was DeSantis
making a big deal about it, and he was like going on the news for DeSantis to talk about stuff, and of course, he was like
I forget who
seen
it
at the
was.
Jungle
I can
Cruise.
remember seeing it.
I know. I feel like it was connected to the commission or whatever that.
yeah, I feel like
but-
it was somebody who, and they went through so many people. That turnover for that committee was
Yeah.
ridiculous. But it's like he's very much so no longer on that committee.
Yeah. But let's talk about another thing that is seeing people not be on things anymore, which is that Disney has decided, if you don't know, I should start with this, that Disney has a program called Disney Aspire, and it's hoping people will aspire a little less these days, because hourly cast members who were using this program basically were getting tuition 100%. By Disney there's specifics and logistics, but effective in November, Aspire's introducing an annual funding cap of $5,250 to in-network schools. The funding period, so we're going. Just so we're clear, we're going from 100% to you get $5,000 a year, I guess.
For the year, not per semester.
I don't. Maybe a semester, maybe.
It says an annual funding cap.
So let's say
It's an annual. So you get 5,000.
that's barely gonna cover like classes. What in the?
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
But effective immediately, the master's programs and Penn Foster trades programs are no longer available for new enrollments. So do you remember they were just like yesterday touting this as a huge thing? Like
they were pushing
very
this at like D23. Like they were hyping it up.
yeah.
So
And not so much now. So
So my question is this them or is this like a government deal?
I mean, clearly Disney, if they could get away with saying it's not them, they would just say that it was sadly due to the California state legislature or what. Like, there would be things that this is a Disney decision. They can't blame it. You don't come out with news like this if you can't blame somebody else.
That is not a
But
good
it's
look.
pretty rough.
I mean, do they get any government money for that? Do they get money from education at all, from any academia? Like, is this literally just money out of their pocket that makes them look good because they are helping employees?
I am sure there's a tax incentive, and I am sure that there is some sort of discount for in-network schools. Like, I'm sure they're not paying full price for these students.
It's a weird call. I mean, to me, it's just odd because it gets them nothing but good press.
Yeah,
And they were just like
Like how many people are taking advantage of it?
Yeah.
So,
for
like,
nothing.
well,
It's
actually,
weird.
they just came out with a study because I just looked it up apparently, and it was like 63% or something like that of people who work for Disney said that was the main reason they applied to work for Disney was for the tuition coverage.
That's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
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 And apparently someone quit.
And
then
they
went to
probably,
Universal.
I would bet a certain amount of people that take advantage of it, Disney benefits from better, long-term employees and upper management, maybe like people who want to end up that want to be lifers or want to move up in a particular area of the company, maybe.
I don't think Disney cares about lifers anymore.
They don't. They don't.
Not-
But no. But so much of their marketing for that program in particular that I'd see pop up on like LinkedIn was about here's this person who was a park sweeper that is now in charge of blah 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 at the resort, and that's because of our program. And it's like, well, okay, then you don't. It's a weird decision to make because it can't cost them a lot of money, and it's nothing but good press. It's such a weird line item cut to me.
If Comcast would like to, I'm sure there probably is some sort of universal program.
Well, I actually read
is.
that someone, once that tuition thing came out, they immediately quit Disney, got an interview with Universal, and now Universal is covering their tuition.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they do have
I'm
a
sure
program.
Universal has a similar program. It's interesting to me they're not trumpeting it to the heavens right now because they should, but because they're staffing up for Epic like crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So there you go. It's always an interesting day when I don't know. This is one of those weird moves. Sometimes they feel like strategic or business oriented, and I don't know the reason behind this.
I mean,
maybe it's just poor marketing, but
I kind of hate to say it, but it kind of seems like once they got that wage deal, they kind of just took a lot of the perks away from the cast members.
I think you're right. I think that there is a consistent connection between union work and Disney tamping down on benefit, which theoretically I don't think they're supposed to be able to do. But there you go.
Here we are.
Speaking of things that were not real, but were very effective in the moment, apparently. Janine, you have some news about a thing that almost made us have another. This happened literally right after we recorded our last episode, to the point where we were like, if this rings true, we will have to have we will have to get back together and talk about it, because it was like, this is a huge deal.
It was bad.
Thank God it wasn't. Janine, what happened?
Yeah, so apparently there were reports at Magic Kingdom at closing time, basically, which becomes like an enormous high-tension clusterfuck while everyone waits for the monorail and the boats and yada yada. And I guess what was reported was like someone got into a fight, and then like a balloon got popped, and so people thought that like their shots had been fired, and so just like complete and utter panic of people stampeding to safety. Apparently cast members did a really wonderful job getting people to where they needed to go. A lot of footage of like really eerie closed gift shops with like a few people like hiding behind a shelf with all the shit knocked off of it, and
just abandoned strollers and just abandoned like stuff laid out for whatever, the fireworks or whatever, and people were like, nope, and like they just took off.
I mean, it really shows how bad the state of our country is when it comes to gun policies, because that's honestly the safest place you could be, and people still panicked like that.
It was a very quick turnaround. Cops were there, I think, in a minute and a half.
There's always a bunch of cops sitting out.
Oh, they were ready. And they were very quick to dispute that it was a shooting as well. I think it was like within the 20 minutes of it happening.
It was really, really fast. And what I would say when thinking about this is recognizing. My brain went to theme design. I don't know. My brain's been a lot on theme design recently as I've been writing a course. I'm writing a course. But it's the Magic Kingdom is a great. Specifically, it's so laid out linear, like it has a very specific path, and there's a linear sort of flow, especially once you're on Main Street. And And that's a terrible place to have a gun. Like that's it is a where do people go? Like we've created it so you don't notice the doors that are the staff doors. Like there's a level of, you know, there are certainly more ways out than we know, but you're not going to know that, or you might not have access to it, right? Like the doors are all going to be locked unless you have a key card or something. It's super dangerous. And then I'm like, what do you do when you get to the lake?
I mean, the only place you can really run is that long path towards Grand Flow, or you have to run down the street to Contemporary.
Yeah. I mean, it's just such a weird... I feel like other theme parks, especially at Disney World, you can, in theory, you could get all the way to your car and out. And Magic Kingdom is a weird spot. As much as I love the ferry and I love that vibe, I have for years started to get over that love and sort of recognized how strange and how far parking is, and it's just
it's one of those things where people always tout it as like something special, but there's a reason it's never been done again in any theme park, because it is a terrible idea.
I literally tweeted that like when I was there a few weeks ago, and everyone was like, "But it's about the storytelling." I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the storytelling. Just get me the fucking Tianas. I don't care.
You're tired. You don't want like this utopian vision that they had of there being this central thing that you drop off your car and then you never have to drive, and it's their entire resort. Like that sounded great on paper in 1970, but it's with the kind of resort it quickly turned into, and with the number of parks and the distance, and it's like, and you know, they're not going to commit to monorails to everything because they're too expensive. It's like that doesn't. Well, it's not the society that built up around those parks. Everybody wants their car. It's a car-driven society. It's a beautiful utopian vision, but it didn't work, and they've never ever done it again ever since, because it's a terrible. It's a funnel that gets really small, and it's at the end of a really long day, and you are cranky as F, and you do not want either of those journeys. You don't want that story. The story you want is, I want to get back to my bed right now.
Yeah.
You know.
That's 100%
having sat in that line at 12:30 in the morning on a late, like closing out the park with a toddler who's viscerally fucking exhausted, surrounded by screaming children. It's like something you do once and you're like, I will never ever do that again. I am out of there well before closing.
I mean, that was the best part about the after hours. If you ever went to an after hours thing, was because it was like you could go do the fireworks, and then you had stuff you could do while all the common folk were leaving, and you were like, now I can leave like a normal human being. It was kind of the weirdest but best part of it, because it was certainly a lot less. But anyway, at least there was a false alarm, and there was not an actual shooter.
But how terrifying for the people who were there.
Boy,
I mean,
was there any injury?
That's a trauma, I feel like.
I don't think there was like specific injuries. I think there was some checking on people and stuff like that, but nothing that I heard of.
I mean, even better, no one was hurt. So
yeah.
That's the goal at the end of the day.
That's the goal. Janine, there's another goal I wish we had, which was making Cosmic Rewind easy to ride, but that's not happening. But another ride is currently available now. Who is open for standby?
Tron is now officially on standby, and
congrats, Dave. Back and forth. It's his whole day now. Not being shitty. Like you love Tron. They can ride it all you want.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, Tron. When they announced that, my initial reaction was like, really, Tron before Cosmic Rewind? Because I think about how if you go to the parks regularly, you know, do not try to be a minute late past your 1 hour window for Tron. Mm-hmm. They will turn you away and say, too bad, so sad. Cosmic Rewind, you can show up 5 hours later with 2 extra people, and they're like, come on in. They don't give a fuck. But they will, even the people at Cosmic Rewind will be like, don't try this at Tron. So I was surprised. But then I thought about it, and ever since Tiana opened, Tron boarding groups have been available they don't sell out anymore. Like it can be 4:30 in the afternoon, and you can still get a boarding group.
Although it's fascinating though, because I know they said at some point Tiana's, at least by the end of this year, will be on standby as well.
That would be fascinating if Cosmic is the only one.
So
it's a big enough.
Be the
It's a
only
big
one.
enough park to
That's
utilize.
true. Cosmic is like the main.
There's nothing else. There's nothing
There's
else to
literally
do,
nothing else.
especially with Test Track down. Here's my guess. Cosmic will go standby when Tron reopens.
I agree.
Or I'm sorry, when Test Track reopens. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I think that's the plan. They need it. That'll be theoretically the newer e-ticket, and it's currently the only thing to do on that side. I mean, that's not true. There's Mission Space, so currently it's the only thing to do is Cosmic Rewind. So yeah. I mean, I get it. I just think it's really strange, and it's also strange that like when you think about Epcot, there's Ratatouille and that sort of stuff, but like there's really only one e-ticket.
I don't think Ratatouille should be considered an e-ticket.
I wouldn't.
It's not, but it
Personally,
was
I
given
would.
that sort of like standby, thing.
And they did
But that's
it
my
very
point.
quickly for Ratatouille. Like, I remember I did pass holder previews, and I think it was like a month or two later, it was already on standby.
Yeah, and I think it's just a lack of other thrills. I mean,
What else can you do at Epcot? Like, Frozen?
yeah,
Yep.
you could go backwards a little bit. How fun!
Frozen.
So yeah, I mean it's fine. Everyone enjoy Tron. Dave, we're gonna go to Epcot. Speaking of Epcot, we are losing a dear friend of mine and 3 dolphins. Where are we losing them? The dolphins have said so long and thanks for all the fish. They're out.
They're leaving the planet. No. This is at the Seas with Nemo and Friends. We have a couple of lovely creatures who are going on to better and other places. The first is Lou the manatee. One of the manatees is being relocated to out of their habitats, and it's not for any bad reason. It's actually part of a broader set of manatee moves around the states by the Manatee Rehabilitation Partnership and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. If people didn't know that, they're native to Florida, and they are endangered, and they get hit by boats and things and awful stuff in Florida Everglades where they live. And they starve, and they're not they're not predators. They're these floating potatoes, and they're lovely.
Yeah.
I did one of those canoe trips in the Everglades where you get to meet them, and you're not allowed to pet them, you're not allowed to touch them, but they come right up to you, like they are just not scared of humans, and they are just big old cows.
I swam with them. We did a swimming trip with them.
I love them. They're so derpy and cute.
It's illegal to
derpy.
touch them, right?
If they come up to you and rub against you, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. It's like seals and sea lions in California. You're not allowed to touch them, but they're so curious they will often, if you're diving, come up to you and just swim around you and cuddle up next to you.
Oh no, I'll never get to that point.
Which
I don't like it.
I'm like, right.
That couldn't be me.
Must not pet. Right. Friend-shaped. They're moving to another. Lou is moving to another manatee rehabilitation center, or just did on the 11th.
Yes,
and then after that, another manatee will go back to Epcot as a companion to Little Joe, who's currently there. So this is all about using the Seas with Nemo as what it should be, which is rehabilitation and conservation. So it's a good thing, right? This is all a good thing. We have a manatee crisis in Florida, declining manatee population. So Epcot and Disney are doing their part to help bring that population back up, which is awesome. And then also a trio of male dolphins living at the seas are going to the Gulfarium Marine Adventure Park in Fort Walton Beach in late October. They didn't. They basically didn't give a reason. The Walt Disney World statement was that this decision came after a comprehensive evaluation as to what is best for these dolphins as infrastructure work progresses at the seas. And to me, that just means the Seas is a beautiful aquarium, and it's never going to compete with like the Georgia Aquarium in terms of size.
Right.
And even those aquariums don't have dolphins. They've got rays, they've got sharks. They sometimes have belugas, but it's sea mammals are a touchy thing for a lot of public viewing nowadays. They can't put them back in the ocean, so let's put them in the best place for them in terms of size, in terms of care.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that aquarium to me was always kind of it was never one that really took advantage of the dolphins. They were just swimming around. You could do not that I want to see them in a show with wailing guitars or anything, but like it was, the only people that really got to interact with them were the people that did Dive Quest, right?
Truly.
And honestly, you can go, I would say, for every 10 times that I go to the seas, I see a dolphin maybe 2 times.
Yeah.
They spend most of their time backstage. So
Yeah.
And
They didn't really care either. They were like,
no. It was probably a lot of money for Disney, and for the amount of money and care for those, they can probably put in 20 or 30 rays and a bunch more other marine life that will, frankly, better fill out that exhibit. That won't.
It was a large space for those 3. It aesthetically was also super empty, and I know their back area is nice, but
aesthetically it's got that weird
big was
futuristic
their back
concrete
area?
thing.
Because I'm looking at an aerial image, and I just don't see how big their facility
is. Is there an outside
outdoors.
portion?
There's not an outdoor portion. But I'm just looking at like the size of the building and what I know of the.
Well, what's interesting is I remember when they were off for a while, they had gotten moved because of construction, because the noise of the construction was messing with them. Mm-hmm. Maybe this means there's going to be more construction at Epcot. No, I'm kidding. There's not going to be any more construction at Epcot.
Please,
follow the dolphins wherever they are last. That's where construction begins. So yeah, God bless them. We love our sea cows. We love our dolphins. And look, the seas I think is probably the crown jewel of Epcot in the sense
I'm
of
inclined to agree.
it's really, really cool, and it's still like one of the. It doesn't try as, and weirdly in the last couple of years it's tried less. It used to be so Nemo heavy, and they've kind of backed away, and they've redone some of the paint jobs to sort of rematch Seabase Alpha, and there's a new kind of vibe over there.
He's probably not there anymore, but when I lived there, the creature, the lovely creature we would always visit was this little cuttlefish in one of the smaller tanks.
Yeah.
And he was like very reactive to people in a very funny way. Like it was very enriching for him to be in the tank in the middle.
Because my internet handle is cuttlefish on a lot of things, and I have a tattoo of a cuttlefish. It was my first tattoo that I got when I was 18. I am really into cuttlefish, and it started for me at the seas at Epcot in 2004, 2005. They had the sepia officinalis, the common cuttlefish in the tanks, and you could bring your video camera and flip the recorder around, and they would start
and they would come up and look at themselves and start changing color and flip the I know.
And that blew my mind. I was like, there are aliens on this planet.
They are.
It was a formative moment for me, and they don't have that species of cuttlefish anymore, which is really upsetting because they're the only place in North America where you could even see these cuttlefish. They're pretty much only in Europe, so it's incredible. But they do have flamboyant cuttlefish now, and they're really cute. They're not as personable.
Are they a bit?
Yeah, they're a little, are they?
But they're little and they're cute and they're really vibrant and they undulate colors, and I love that.
I had the same experience. Literally, I had the same exact experience, Ginny. Those things were so magical and so much personality, oozing off of them, and
it rewired my brain. Truly,
I love it. I love it.
Danger
That's
hugs.
so special.
Danger hugs.
We are going to go on over to Hollywood Studios and talk about a thing that is coming soon. Dave, I'm so sus about this. I hate this very much. Just tell us what it is, and then we'll get into it.
Well, first of all, for all of you Cars fans, we are losing Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy.
It was a cute little show.
I
It is
never
very
saw.
cute.
I only saw video of it. It was just like one animatronic car, right, and screens.
But it moved. It would turn around, and it had its own training simulator screens. But it was very cool in its ability to sort of utilize what is in theory a fairly empty space, but with the screens and the sound and the gags, they did a pretty fun job. It was a fun little show.
They did a really
It's
good job
interesting
with it.
because target audience, like I have a little boy and I
Right.
took my little boy to that and it blew his mind at first, but we only did it that one time.
Yeah, I get that.
It wasn't a repeat draw for us for whatever reason. He really loved it at the time, but it might have been we caught him on the tail end of like the Cars age.
It's also like really far.
But
too,
Dave,
like-
are you excited about villains? Copyright as a concept.
Disney villains. They're transforming the Sunset Showcase into the mysterious, reflective realm of the magic mirror. And the show features appearances by dozens of the most famous evildoers. Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, Maleficent. They each break through the glass to take the stage in live production numbers. I think this is priming the pump for Villains Land that they announced, right? This is getting those characters front and foremost for everybody again, most likely.
What is there to prime? These are like super classic characters.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying they are, but they've never been celebrated like this before. Like, all
Not here. That's true.
no,
Right,
that's
they've
not
been in special
necessarily
events before, but a
true.
show with it's called Club Villain. It's basically it was the home of Club Villain. Was a thing they'd done before,
Right.
For like it was Halloween, right? It ran for like 3 or 4
It
years.
was for like
to me, that's
it was like for a special thing, and then they never did it again.
yeah, it's too bad because it was popular from what I know. Right?
Yeah, it was really
And so this
popular.
is them sort of revisiting that. It's not. I'm not saying they're not popular characters. I'm saying putting them all together.
Right.
There's an audience for that. There's this is there's an audience of kids who grew up that's their entire personality now. It's very hot topic, right? So and that's not a judgment. That's like good for you. The villains are now a thing in a way that for my generation, yes, you always loved the villains, but they weren't celebrated like this. And so putting them all together into a show, I think is kind of clever. We'll see if it's any good. I hope it's Cruella from the live action one, which I think it should be.
Like the Glenn Close one?
No.
Oh, like the new one.
The new one, the one with.
Oh,
I loved that
Oh,
movie.
with the
I love that.
Emma Stone.
Cruella
that was
is it
very
in the
much a
concept
movie
art?
made for the gays.
this
that
was
was
me doing eyeballs.
I love that movie. I love that movie so much. I love that movie so much.
It was a
I know
good
it was for
movie.
the
I liked
gays,
it.
but
It totally was, because I know that friends of yours, David and Alonso, both really enjoyed it too, which is, but everyone
It's for
seems
the-
to agree it's trash.
it's for the-
It's kind of trash, but
it's
like
trash.
in that,
But it's for the girl. It's for the girls and the gays and the theys for sure. Like
Yeah.
It's definitely that. Which is why I want it in a theme park. But
only
we'll
if we
see.
could see Dalmatians kill her mother live on stage. As long as that can
Lord.
happen.
Yeah, that was a choice they
choice.
made. That was a
Good
choice.
choice.
Anyway, it's going to be a fun villain show. I think you're going to see more of stuff like this. And again, they are popular characters, but justifying them. This is my concern actually with the land, and I think we talked about this last time. That like I love the art for Villains Land, but the villains are nothing without the heroes. I don't understand what those stories are going to be in terms of like e-ticket attractions. I'm not negging it. I'm just saying
As long as
Okay,
they
tell
probably
me.
won't. They'll be.
they're
the
not
way
the
I see
Universal
it is
monsters,
they're-
is what I mean. Universal
Yeah.
monsters are tragic characters who you kind of root for, right?
Yeah.
And Disney villains are not that.
No.
They're not Frankenstein and Dracula at all. Like
No. And they wouldn't even get along. This is my big issue with all of this in general terms is like they would kill each other very quickly.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like Maleficent is not going to take Captain Hook's shit. That's not.
No, but I
no.
think but in a comical way you make them frenemies,
Sure.
and then that's fine.
And everyone brings up that House of Mouse, House of Villains, direct to like VHS
I
bullshit.
never saw it.
Everyone.
Oh,
So this whole villains
how
thing, I've
dare
been
you.
like, guys, Villains Land's a marketing thing. Like, and I don't say that in a bad way necessarily, but like Disney Villains is an entire marketable marketing concept. Like there are games that are called Disney Villains. There's a clothing line. It's called Disney Villains.
Right.
And everyone's like, well, no, they hung out on the House of Mouse and they're always in the parks together. And it's like, you don't, it's a specific type of marketed thing. Right. And I feel like you're right in the sense that this is part of that. I don't understand. Look, this should not make me this angry. I do not like seeing these Magic Kingdom villains at Hollywood Studios. I like put your IP in one area, in one park, if you have 4 parks, and they shall not cross the streams into other parks. Like, it just, for me,
I hear you. I hear you, comma. I think if it's going to be people singing on stage, because it says they're going to perform.
Sure.
This is not a fuzzy head to track show.
Yeah.
This is going to be live action Cruella, live action. I think it's going to be live action versions of all those characters, which they can dress and angle to look like a live action movie version.
Sure.
And there's been enough live action movies of most of those brands that they could. So
Dave, can I ask you? So, do you think they're kind of leaning more towards like Descendants kind of style with the performances?
I hope not, just because that's not for me, and I would feel left out. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I mean, like,
fully
Dave, I've barely seen The Descendants. It seems for the gays. Like,
it's definitely for the gays. I will say that.
I've heard, but not
it's for baby gays.
It's for baby gays. It's for millennial gays and Gen Alpha gays. Like, millennials, I know, love it, but they also love the Cheetah Girls. So there's your taste level. So, sorry, I hate to neg.
Are you saying
it's for you?
It's
not for
girls?
me. It's not my generation. And I thought when I heard about The Descendants the first time, I was like, okay, like this is a CW show.
Yeah.
Basically, they're making CW for Disney. Okay,
you're making Once Upon a Time for Disney Channel opposed to ABC.
And Once Upon a Time, I actually dug. I really dug that show. But anyway, maybe it's Descendants. Maybe they'll certainly get the teen. It's not even teen. The millennial mom audience who want to show it off to their teen and tween kids. That's the right way to go. To be honest, if, just from a marketing standpoint, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. And when I say Descendants, I don't mean like the Descendants characters. I mean like the level of their musical performances, but for like Disney villain live action is what I kind of gathered from the verbiage. But
they are not going to invest in more than each individual character. There's not going to be any background like dancers or anything in this thing. There's no way. Disney's not going to invest that kind of money in a show like this. They don't do that.
Yeah.
What do you think this is? Big Band Beat? Get out of here, Victoria.
Look, I've been looking for Big Band Beat too since we talked about it last time, and I still can't find it.
It's going to be like something that it's going to come up on every episode.
It should, because it's the best thing in the world.
When you see Big Band Beat, like I'm telling you, when I saw Mickey Mouse talking about I love jazz, I love the jazz from Harlem, I'm like, okay, Michael Jerome, what do you know about that?
But he's now allowed at the picnic. Is that how it works?
Of course he's allowed at the picnic. He was tap dancing and drumming.
He's fine.
Yeah, I love Big Band Beat.
Victoria, I don't know how to transition. Okay, because we have some bummer news, and it is I would say it is a tragedy not just for theme park stuff, but also for the theme park community, because this was someone who I did not know, but is someone in the influencer sphere of Disneyland.
Yeah. So I guess I'll call him content creator. So content creator Caleb G. Travels, he was very popular within the Diz Talk community. He was also known as a runner. He ran the Disneyland Halloween Half. I was actually supposed to be at that race, but had a medical thing. And then it should be noted that it was like the hottest it's ever been in a while. I think the high was like 107, 108. Ooh. So unfortunately, he finished his race, and then once he crossed the finish line, it was very evident that he was having like a hard time like breathing and stuff. So from what I understand, he collapsed as soon as he crossed, and he was rushed to the hospital and he was pronounced dead. So I believe it was a combination of the heat, which I think in his last TikTok, actually, he mentioned he had concerns about the heat and running. So that was very unfortunate. But he did pass away shortly after finishing his race. Yeah. So
and the tragedy is like this wasn't he was what, 30 something?
He was 35.
And 35 and no real medical history.
As far as I knew, it was no real medical issues, and like I said, he was an experienced runner. This wasn't his first like race or dizzy race. So,
well, we wish his family well, and you know, it's a tragedy, and it's sadly a thing that does happen at marathons. It's certainly not the first, but I
just have to ask, like, at what point do you need to cancel your marathon if you're trying to make people run in 100 plus?
The thing with that is when you sign up, you sign a waiver that...
Fuck a waiver.
I'm just saying from a standpoint, but I also do agree that it should have been canceled. But I think at that point, they couldn't really do anything because a lot of people flew out for this as well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So when you sign that waiver, what you have to in order to run, you assume all the responsibility. So at that point, they don't need to cancel.
And this is you know, it's I don't want to make it about global warming, but this is something that's an aspect of something we've not dealt with before. Is because we're seeing these kind of issues. So, yeah, all the best to his family and to his loved ones. Victoria, let's go to some more positive news, though. Let's go all the way back to Universal Florida, where we have some big shifts, some big changes happening. Let me bring up, we saw recently a certain store close its doors inside the park.
So speaking of the girls, gays, and days, thank you. So Universal Orlando, and I think this change is happening for Hollywood as well. Closed two stores. They closed the Universal Universe store. And the
which implies that there's a unibottom and a unitop, but I digress. Speaking of gays, go on.
They closed this store and the Hello Kitty store because they're going to open some stores that I believe will sell merchandise for Wicked, if I'm reading that correctly.
They're doing a full-on, it's going to be a thing.
It's a thing.
That looks really fun, the concept art.
So it's opening.
And they're going to have costumes and photo ops, and it's super smart.
They're leaning in.
Yeah.
So it says with this experience, guests will be able to step into the fantastical land of Oz. It's going to have like various locations from the film, costumes, like improv, like Dave said, created by the film designers, and like photo ops, so that way you can recreate stuff. So this one and the one in Hollywood is going to open in late October, and I believe that the film doesn't even come out till what, December.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're laying it on thick.
This merchandise is really cute.
Yeah,
I'm not a Wicked fan. I've never seen it or anything.
Oh, okay.
Like this little coaster, and there's just cute stuff.
Yeah,
the trailer looks great. I mean,
too.
The trailer looks great. I'm very interested in how they're splitting it into two movies about where they're gonna.
Oh, it's going to be the intermission. It's Defying Gravity, and the movie's going to go to credits. There's no way it's not. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Well, that's the flaw. Is the second act of that show is kind of. I like the show overall, but the second act is weak. Like the first act is great. It's one of the best endings of a first act in Broadway history. It's incredible. Yeah. And then the second act is like, okay. Like it's anyway, they've owned the rights for Wizard of Oz for a very long time, for Wicked as well.
For Wicked.
For Wicked. They actually, but they did, that there was a little mini land in USJ back in like early aughts. They had a little mini Oz land that didn't look like it was their own design. It kind of looked like Small World. It was like this very graphic, kind of funky. Mm-hmm. And it was a restaurant and an animal show that was like Dorothy and on the farm. And then a version of Wicked that was like 30 minutes long, and it was super popular there. My prediction is if the movies are a hit, this is an expansion at Epic. There is going to be a land, and there's going to be an anchored theater that shows a version of Wicked, or a movified version of a Broadway show. Yeah,
honestly, I would be down for that because what Universal is lacking? They're lacking stage shows, and they have so many theaters.
Well, they'll gain. they'll gain the How to Train Your Dragon one in Epic.
That's one.
And
I'm talking about the ones they got now.
Oh, there's one in Harry Potter too. So there's at least two. So this would be the third.
The Beast show.
I 100% agree. No one has been able to tap down a Wizard of Oz like land.
I've worked on.
They're opening one in Australia this year, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, people do it. Don't get me wrong. There's like one in the middle of the country, I think, that's like an experience too. Like you'll see them pop up because it's is it public domain? I think it's public domain.
It is.
Right?
It is. And you can't use the 39 movie look, but we did. Like the Warner Brothers Abu Dhabi back in the early concept days in 2007, 8. We had a whole Ozland. We had
I believe it.
a book report ride of the original movie that was a flume ride. We had a flying monkey coaster. We had a Glinda storytelling thing where she arrived in the bubble. We had my favorite. We had a horse of a different color carousel where they were all like lucite and they changed color. Yeah,
that
was
rules.
awesome. It ruled. It was so good. And that, trust me, in the theme park industry, I've worked for 3 different companies that have all worked on Oz projects in the last 30 years. Everybody's tried. Yeah. Everybody has tried. And I think,
was it MGM that had it in Vegas for a while?
They did. It was pretty crappy. Yeah. But there's been versions that were not based on the 39 movie really at all, that because the books are public domain. Mm-hmm. And I think Wicked becomes the tentpole blockbuster reason to put it in theme parks. Universal is leaving money on the table, even if the movie's just tepidly popular. Wicked gets him a princess, and it gets him a little spooky, and it gets him magic in a way that they don't have Potter, and they're leaving money on the table. I'm sure they have big plans. They wouldn't be doing this if they didn't have big plans.
Don't think for a minute they don't got the full Wicked verse figured out. I mean, you got 3 books plus several variations.
Oh yeah.
There's I mean, Son of a Witch, and then the third one's about the Cowardly Lion. I can't remember its name. And then there's like other stuff. Like they'll go down the whole rabbit hole if this movie's huge, for sure. And they should, because it's an interesting way of doing this. It's quality, so I'm for it. And it's interesting. So let's do it. Give me some more. We don't have our Munchkins anymore in Hollywood Studios, so I gotta go somewhere. Victoria. We lost quite the voice this week, but at a vintage age. Who has went on to the other world?
Well, unless you're living under a rock, unfortunately, we lost James Earl Jones this week. He passed away at the age of 93. I believe he was in his home, so he passed away there. Obviously, if you're a Disney fan, you know he was the voice of Mufasa, including in the one remake that I'm not even going to recognize. Anyway, and obviously he was Darth Vader, but beyond that, as a Disney legend, he was also in Field of Dreams. He was in Doctor Strangelove. Coming to America. But he was in the theater. He was in film. I think he was also the voice of like something in Indiana Jones, the ride, I think. But
no.
But yeah, he
sadly
left.
Not. Huh? No, he wasn't a voice in the ride of that one. That was a different actor.
Oh, I don't know who I'm thinking of. All of that to say.
Well, anybody that has a deep voice, you immediately want to think that it's James Earl Jones first, because he is the deep voice of CNN and all sorts of stuff. So it's a big loss, but it's not a surprise passing. But I mean, what a guy! He's got
what a career.
A legacy to leave
love
behind.
him in Hunt for October. It's one of my favorite films of his.
What was the film you mentioned before we?
There's a great movie called Claudine that he's in, which is a slightly earlier part of his career, but one of the first films that really sort of looked at urban black life with a positive side to it, even though there was struggle. It's a fun little movie, and he plays a guy that's courting Claudine.
Diane Carroll. I love Diane Carroll.
It's great. It's a great movie. Criterion, I think Criterion put out a Blu-ray last year of it. So it should be on the Criterion channel. I love James Earl Jones. He has my favorite cuss maybe ever in a movie, which is in in Hunt for October, he sees Jack and he goes, Jack, Jesus. And it's the best, like, it's like just it's such a, like, no one, you know. It's like my father, who is a man who does not cuss whatsoever, would watch it and go, oh, you shouldn't say that, but, you know, says it pretty well. You know, like, it's hard to not recognize quality there. So, you will be missed. King.
Look up. He did a bunch of commercials for Bell telephone back when there used to be a Bell for the Yellow Pages in like 90s. Look them up. The whole series is really funny because they're like they're these funny written things about how a business gets to a customer and the many steps between, and that the Yellow Pages often facilitates that. And they're really funny, and they're really the writing's really great, and his voice is, as always, perfect. But they're one of those things with him that is like super unique, and they would not have been the same campaign if it hadn't been his voice.
Yeah. Oh, and he's the bad guy in Conan the Barbarian. So.
Oh my God! Right?
Yeah, I forgot.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Oh, you know what I just realized? That Mufasa scene in Happily Ever After is gonna hit a lot different now.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
For sure. Janine is already being comforted from her.
That cat knows no personal space. Like literally just up in your
Well, there's
grill.
a whole perch now because of that baby belly. There's a big old
For
perch.
the baby bump.
Yeah, he would be on my lap, but
Is the kitty paying more attention to you? Like, does the kitty know? Kitty?
No, if anything, no. I've not seen. My cat did pee on me while I was sleeping a couple times, which is something that when I was pregnant with my oldest son, that started happening with my cat then. So apparently, it's like, oh, she smells different.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's take care of
mark
this.
her now.
Yeah, territory.
Really
Mark
fun.
that territory. Speaking of marking your territory, let's go ahead and head on over to Beware Our Guest. Okay, for our first Beware Our Guest, we have a story about a man at Disneyland, which I think this was during D23, was it not? Yes, it was the weekend of D23.
Oh, that makes sense why I didn't hear it.
Yeah. A man decided that he was going to install a banner for cryptocurrency at the park entrance. And so he does. There's a QR code. I'm not putting up any pictures because I don't want him to get any interest at whatsoever. But he put up this banner, and it was taken down in 1 minute and 12 seconds. Is how long it took for Disney to take care of it. I'm sure. I would not be shocked if the video was filmed by a friend, and he knew exactly what was going to happen. And this is how you.
And which entrance was this? Was it like the entrance the guests come through, like before security?
Yeah, this would have been the whatchamacallit, the in between California Adventure and
So in the promenade.
The promenade. There's another term for it, but I can't remember the name. There's another fancy term for. It's going to drive me nuts. I must know. What is the name?
Esplanade?
Esplanade. That's the term I'm looking for.
Wait,
Esplanade.
Wait, so you got to go through security before you get to the Well, no, not if you're coming from downtown Disney.
Sure, but yeah. But like even if you did.
Good drag name. Esplanade.
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 That is a really good drink.
Naude spell. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm always looking for one. Sorry.
Always looking for one.
There you go.
I'm not generally, but you know. But Dave, we have, I think, the Muppets have gotten a little too out of control, and usually their chaos is sort of maintained, but we've got an issue at Epcot with our good friends the Muppets. Someone came for them.
Yeah. So the Odyssey at Epcot, which is the little space in between World Showcase and Test Track, it's often used for a food and wine festival, and it's last year they made it the Brew Wing Lab. And it's spicy wings and that iconic and viral pickle milkshake that they debuted, which is actually pretty great.
It's my favorite.
Is this the third year of Muppet Labs Brewing? I think
it's the
festival.
second.
They had the other one. Do you remember when they had it at a different location? They had their own little lab with like glow in the dark drinks and stuff. Black lights.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, long story short, they add the Muppets to that, and it's been very popular. And they there's a screen, and they got Bunsen Honeydew and Beaker, and they it was just seating, and that video was playing while you were eating, and it was this little little activation. But they tried to make it more by adding a photo op, and they put this desk, and it's full of lab equipment and beakers and stuff, and it was so guests could get photos of themselves helping out in the Muppets Brewing lab. And less than 72 hours, it's all removed. Why? Children. I love kids, but parents, you need to effing supervise them. Because
I love kids. I hate parents.
I love kids. Many reports of unsupervised children throwing props and destroying the set, and Disney just removed it days after it was installed, and now it's completely gone because we can't have nice things. So I wish it was another reason than that. I wish it was like there was one event that triggered it or whatever, but it's not. It's just
Cumulative.
It's cumulative, and one guest does it, and the other guests think they can, and it's like, in what world do you bring your kids somewhere where they think they can just pick up anything in front of them and throw it? In what world have you brought them up in? Yeah. Especially in Disney, where there's stuff in stores, there's stuff that they can touch all over the place, and yet here you get them to take a photo and they're amped up on sugar and they throw stuff. I'm not going to parent shame people, but come on.
I will. I will.
I certainly
thank you.
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's just can't have
It's just people feeling entitled, which is a continuing issue in society, in my opinion. Like they're like, oh, I spent all this money. Like, you're not going to tell my kid what to do. Like, it's.
If someone wants to hear my dad voice, they can do this shit in front of me, and it comes out.
I
think I've seen you call kids out for doing shit in theme parks, and I think
my best story about this. You were not with me during this story, but I was by myself. Maybe Katie was doing something else. No, she was there, but she was like not. I wanted to go on Woody Woodpecker's coaster because I'd never done it. And it had like kind of a slow line. It was like 20 minutes. I was like, let's check this box. So she was off like doing something that's far more interesting. And so I am in line for Woody, and I see these parents literally be like, all right, kids, get in that line. We'll see you at the end. All right. So there's these, and that's, if you have responsible children and they're going to be right there at the end of the thing, like it's not really that big of a deal. But this kid hopped the little fence. Again, I'm not going to say anything, because there's just these little kind of fences. There's just a couple shrubs, and there was an electrical box. And then he decided he wanted to play with the electrical box.
Oh.
And so the moment his hand touched the electrical box, I went, let me step away from the mic a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I went, cats, you're fine. I just know this is going to spook him. I went, hey, no, we don't do that. No, get back over here. This is where you need to be. And I scared myself. Like I was like kind of shaking because I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But a kid was like going to electrocute himself. So I was like, all right, fine. We're going to go full. Which I don't usually have to do.
I like it.
But if you want me to, be a shit kicking kid in the theme park.
I mean, that's a good dad voice, though. I'm very impressed with it.
Yeah,
as someone who has perfected the look, I'm very impressed with that.
Thank you.
My friends call it my coach voice.
Oh,
that's fun.
I like that.
Yeah, because coach isn't here to punish you, but
you better listen.
Right. It's like I'm here to make you better, and you better effing listen, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's the job. I've never had to turn that on a parent. No one's ever been like, you can't talk to my kid that way.
I would.
I don't know what I would do.
Well, someone has to, would be my response.
I'm like, well, someone's got to,
someone
and
has
he surely ain't doing
I think
it.
that was the other thing is I knew I wouldn't get in trouble with a parent.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, guess what? I'm the parent.
I just
now.
saved you. I
I'm
just
the
saved your
captain.
kid.
I'm the
I
captain.
I just saved your kid from electrocuting themselves, so you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, you're welcome. So yeah, I mean, it's coming back. The brewing thing is coming back at some point. We'll see. There's going to be less stuff, and none of it will be glass. I can guarantee. Not a beaker in sight will be on that table. I am sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And they might
But,
just have to
yeah.
staff it with a babysitter.
I'm just mad.
Yes.
Like, I literally went there that Saturday, and I was like, yay, I'm going to get my purple milkshake, and it'll be great. And it was just, like, empty space. And I'm like, I
You're
hate
not
all
allowed
of you
nice
for
things,
ruining this for
Victoria.
me.
We've
Ruined
talked
it.
about this. No nice things for Victoria. That's not how it
No.
works.
It's
No.
racist somehow. I don't know.
It is racism. Speaking of racism, let's go to where racism happens a lot, and that's the courtroom. We're going to rat court.
Hear ye, hear ye. Rat Court is now in session. The rat-tastical Judge Nathan Hartman presiding.
Order in my court. Order in my court. This is my court, and I should make it very clear: we are not a racist court at Rat Court. We're cool, but systemic injustices happen elsewhere, but not here in Rat Court because we know the truth, and we are always bending towards justice here in Rat Court. So, lawyer Janine. Stenographer Janine. I don't know what we decided your
Yeah.
role is.
Classically, I'm a court reporter.
I think
But,
Dave has been called bailiff once.
Oh, yeah.
Bailiff. I mean, gailiff would work too, but bailiff's more fun.
Barely kind of hits better.
Victoria, I guess you're just sort of,
I'm just nosy.
I don't know.
Oh, that
Yeah.
makes you a clerk.
You're a clerk.
Oh, I love that for me then.
Yeah. You'll be making more as a Rat Castle clerk than you are now. So I'm here for you. Janine, as stenographer, are you a lawyer? Because you're not a lawyer. Because you're not trying to convince me of anything here.
No, I'm
You're
just,
you're-
reading into the record.
You're reading the record. Read it. Who
Yep.
reads things into the record? Stenographer?
The
Yeah,
court
stenographer.
reporter,
Court reporter. Okay.
yeah. So if it's something that happened in court, they would read that
Okay.
into the record.
Got it.
Like, it's
Court
called,
reporter
like,
Janine.
Yeah. So, some couple who previously had access to Club 33 apparently took advantage of that privilege. Apparently, the husband was getting wasted. He maintains that it was a medical event and that he was not wasted.
A vestibular migraine triggered by red wine.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
A lot of red wine. So anyway, he got banned, she got banned with him, and they have now spent $400,000 in attorney's fees to try to force Disney to let them back into the club.
So they can
And-
spend how much per year on Club 33?
I don't remember, and there's
30,000?
like $30
I think
something
it's
thousand dollars in
30,000.
dues.
It's 50 for the first year.
30 after.
Oh, well,
30
I mean,
something
clearly
after
they have money to throw, and they've said that they're just going to keep fighting. So they've got even more money to throw at this problem. Their attorney loves them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I don't even know what to say here. It's an exclusive club. They can kick you out for any reason that they want other than being a protected class.
They own a golf course in Arizona, by the way.
Is that what it is?
That's what they're.
I was
that's
trying to
where they
figure
make their
that out.
money.
That makes sense. Yeah.
This
own a
seems
golf
all about
course
Wait,
in a
sorry, what
place
did you
Sounds
say?
about white.
You broke up. What did you
Sounds
say?
about white.
where water is a precious commodity.
Yeah, good for you, Arizona.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the story. This couple is fighting for their lives. I think that the wife was quoted saying that, like, they will never give up or something to that effect.
Yes.
I
They've
got
Went into
Yeah.
their retirement money, I believe. Is
Yeah.
what
They
said.
went into their
Yeah.
retirement money to get back
Yeah.
into Club 33. Child, I wish that was a problem I had. Let's just start there.
Agreed. So legit or sus, I guess we would have to say for this one, it would be, is their complaint legit? Should they be allowed back in? Or is it sus?
I
They
mean,
should not be allowed back in.
my
Victoria.
thing is, I need to see, was there medical documents to back up his statement? Because if that's the case, then I can kind of be like, okay, I get it. But also, How much wine was he drinking? Like, how much wine do you need to drink in order for that condition to be triggered?
I also want to know, was this a singular event or was this something that happened multiple times? Because I feel like...
Sounds like it's multiple.
It sounds like multiple.
I feel like it has to be multiple events for them to really be like, no, this hammer is dropped. Like, you are out. I don't think one time having a little bit too
also,
much
I read that they spilled some tea to Hollywood Reporter about what you get.
There's
and
a
like,
great...
Which I was like, oh, you're definitely not getting back in because you're spilling tea.
Yeah, they're not getting back in now.
So I'm like,
there's a great interview with them in the Hollywood Reporter, and
yeah,
it's very dishy, and
they very much.
Because a lot of people that have these memberships like profit off of them.
Yeah,
they go with them, and they go with people and let them pay to get in for lunch or dinner, and then there's merch that they sell online, and like. Katy Perry offered access to the lounge for charity for $160,000, and she got nabbed for it, right? Rebel Wilson was suspended for taking a picture in the bathroom, right? They have very strict rules, and one of them is that you can't like profit off the place.
It should have it's because she's Rebel Wilson would have been enough for me.
I mean,
sorry,
but then that also kind of leads me to a quick question that it has nothing really to do with it, but like, if it's so strict and so exclusive, why the fuck are they making a movie about it?
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
That's my thing. Like, you're putting it out as this exclusive, luxurious
Victoria,
club, but then you're making...
they're going to put a Club 33 on every cruise, and they're going to this is directly in line with their whole, we really give a shit about those who can pay out the nose, and the middle class can fuck off, which is the current system in place.
That's fair. Although I can definitely see them putting it on a Disney cruise. The fact that they haven't done that yet is
it's
kind
crazy
of impressive.
they haven't done it. No, it's nuts. But okay, so Victoria, where do you land? Legit or sus?
I'm gonna say sus, only because, and this is my only reason. If they truly wanted to get back in, and if it was truly a medical thing, they wouldn't have done that interview with the Hollywood Reporter. That's where I'm at. So sus.
Yeah. Janine.
Sus.
She got nothing else to say.
Like, you have nothing else to add.
Yep. No, I have no sympathy.
Dave.
No sympathy, sus. Like, and if you read the Hollywood Reporter article, they had been slapped on the wrist before for like using profanity and a little bit of drinking.
I read that, yeah.
Yeah,
this is just rich people pouting and stomping their feet. Like it's they said they went upwards of like 80 days a year to this place. Like, get your money's worth. I'm not. I mean,
true.
Good for you.
True.
Good for you. Use it.
Also, do you work?
No.
They don't.
I mean,
they profit off the lack of water in Arizona by having a golf course. So, anyway, no sympathy. Completely sus.
I will also say sus, and I will say my verdict here is that if you are stupid enough as a human being to spend $400,000 to try to get into a place so you can spend $30,000 a year so you can buy overpriced drinks, you are the dumbest person I've ever heard of.
It's a cult.
You are.
Yeah, they said that in the.
You are not a human being. You are a husk of an identity, and now you can't have it. And this is the first time anyone's ever told you no. And now I am fining these people, and they must now pay for Disney's Aspire program for the next 5 years.
Very quickly, though, Dave, can you tell me about your Club 33 experience?
You've been
a couple of times. I don't want to brag, but I've had friends that have had memberships, and
we didn't assume you did. You're poor boy, like the rest of us rats.
I don't have that kind of scratch. One of my first ones was my first gay dating relationship in my early 20s. The guy that I was dating had a friend who had a membership, and so my first legal purchased at a bar drink at 21 was
excellent.
At Club 33.
No way!
Well, no, it gets nerdier. It was Club 33 in the afternoon, and then it was the Magic Castle that night for dinner. So I'm a golden
and
nerd.
Magic Castle.
And yeah, I've been to Cashel a bunch too, because I know a lot of people that are, like one of the guys I work with is a performing member there. So,
I mean, if you're in the themed entertainment industry, you can spit and hit a magician. That's how it works.
Yeah. No, true. No, I've been a couple of times to Club 33, both in its old iteration and in its new lounge iteration. One of my best times there, you can actually see video of, which normally is not allowed, but this night it was a special case, and it was on Halloween night in 2007, I believe. I was called by a friend at Disney Imagineering who said, "Hey, I have the extra tickets for this thing tonight, and it's at Club 33. Do you want to go?" And she was like, "I've got like 6 or 8 tickets, and we can't get rid of them." And I'm like, "Great, I'll call up people." So Jason went with me. His mom was in town with us. She had no idea how special this thing was, right?
Yeah.
Even more so that the reason for the event, it was on Halloween night. Ray Bradbury spoke.
Oh.
And I have video of it on my YouTube. You can look it up on YouTube. He was invited there by Tim Delaney and a bunch of other Imagineers, and he sat there and talked about, because he had a relationship with Walt, and had developed something wicked was developed while he was still Walt was still there, like in the 50s. Anyway, long story short, this was like a celebration of Ray, and he told all these stories about Walt and about consulting on Epcot, because he was one of the consultants for early Epcot, and it was a room full of Imagineers and industry people, and we were all like toddlers. Like, it was, what I tell people is it was like E.T. and he all just booped us on the forehead. Like, that's what that night was. He's one of my favorite authors ever. I could not believe I was in the same room. And he sat there and talked for like an hour, and he's like 80 and in a wheelchair, but he talked like he was 14. Like, he was just full of energy, and like, it is incredible. And you can see most of it in a very terrible recording on my YouTube. And he was lovely. And then the biggest surprise was at the end of the night, they said, "We have a surprise for everyone and for Ray." And they took us out, and the park's closed at this point, right? We're walking through empty Disneyland. And they walk us into Frontierland. And you've noticed during October they put up the Halloween tree, which is based on his novel. Mm-hmm. That started that night. The first time they ever did it was when we were there. And they decorated it with like pumpkin lights, and they put all these fake... Do I have it up? Yeah, hang on. Let me get something.
Sure.
Oh, what a treat!
They put up all these fake leaves, and mine's actually signed by Ray Bradbury.
Wow!
And they had signed copies of The Halloween Tree, which is one of my favorite books. I reread it every year. And pardon me, my head's crooked. And he was there, and they said if he would like to take a picture.
Oh my God.
So we all lined up, and he's sitting there in his wheelchair, and I walk up, and I'm beyond starstruck, guys. Yeah. I've read every one of his books twice, and I'm trembling.
Aww.
And I walk up to him, and I'm like, "Mr. Bradbury, I don't know what to say. I can't believe I'm here."
Aww.
And he grabs my hands, and he's 80, and he's looks me right in the eyes, and he goes, "Well, you are here, and you're wonderful." And I literally burst. The picture of me, I'm crying my eyes out. My literary hero booped me on the nose creatively and told us, like, what you guys do is magical. What we all do, and all of us artists have something special. You have to acknowledge that. It was one of those kind of speeches. It was a transformative moment of my life, and it happened in Club 33. So that's what Club 33 means to me, and it was incredibly special that I was invited to that. I actually wrote about it in Haunters, that anthology book that Michael Roddy wrote.
Okay, I think I've heard of
it. He asked me to write that story, and it's in there.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, so that means legit. Dave, you get a legit.
Thank you.
In this Rat Castle. Thank you. But the conclusion for these Club 33 pass holes, we give them a sus!
Sus!
Sus.
And now we are ending this wonderful episode with one of our favorite segments of this and every episode, and that is, of course, the wonderful Us Tutor Computer Poem of the Week.
That's why I'm a router for the computer. Everybody needs a friend.
Oh, Astuder. What sort of information do you have for us? Of all this news, what are you interested in talking about? What's the... Okay, let's see here. Muppets Brew Delight. Gone in 3 short days. Quick blink. Festive whim. Now missed.
Ooh.
All right.
A bar.
All right.
Once again.
Thank you, Astuder. We appreciate you. So there you go. That's Rat Castle. That is not just produced by me. No. I have gotten very, very busy in my life, and a couple people have been so kind as to sort of take up my slack, and I appreciate it. Victoria is our official social media producer now, doing all the things. And Sarah, who was desperately wanted to be here and was almost here, but could not speak. She was sick and had a throat problem, but she's helping me create the agenda for this every episode and figuring out what we should talk about through all the news. So thank you, Sarah, who's a producer, and Victoria, who is also helping produce as well. You can find everything you're interested in for this little show we do at ratcastlepod.com, and you can also hear me every week currently on Fun. So check that out. We've got some fun episodes. Today's episode that's dropping, if everything goes right, I'm supposed to record it after I do this, will be about Beetlejuice. No, I said that once, so that's all we got. So we'll be talking about I kept saying the BJ when talking about him, and I was like, I can't say that. You can't call him BJ. So
I mean, you can.
You can, but you shouldn't. So with that, grab your belongings and your cats, right, Janine? Gotta grab your cat and exit to the left. There's the tail of the cat, and that thing's so cute. We love it. We love it.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?
This has been a production of 710 Media.